Welcome to the ICBC Roundtable podcast, brought to you each time you push play. You're going to be listening to three guys you might just want to listen to. First off, author, educator, and ICBC senior pastor, Cody Hale. Next is ICBC worship and discipleship pastor, hailing from Chulafini, Alabama, Andrew Nunnerly. And finally, our host and everyone's best friend, ICBC student and outreach pastor, John the Beard Blanton.
Thank you all so much for joining us. I don't know when you guys are watching this. Hopefully you are watching this live at 6 o'clock. If not...
this is the year 2050.
Yes.
We're graduating.
So yeah, thank you.
Please send space nuts.
Yeah, thank you all so much for joining us again on this Wednesday.
What was the ice cream of the future? That's what I was trying to think of. I came up with space nuts. The ice cream of the future. The little pellets.
Space.
What do you call those?
I don't know. All I can think of is the orange.
Dippin' Dots?
Dippin' Dots.
Dippin' Dots.
Yeah.
Yeah, we totally messed up the intro. That's totally cool. But getting back to it, so we're changed around because evidently this is funny. Can I say this?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's gonna come back.
We didn't have a pillow.
I know. So for some reason, the camera angle, Andrew and I look much bigger than our pastor, and so it was like, hey, let's change it around. Let's change it around a little bit.
I'm real boy.
And I would love for the fattest guy to be in the middle. That way, it'd make me look smaller.
Spreads things out.
Yeah. And so we have better looking guys on either side of me than I am.
Wow.
And so that's what we did here. So so thank you all so much yet again for joining us. To my right is our lead pastor, Cody Hale, and to my left is Andrew Nunnerly, our fantastic and wonderful Getting Their Beard worship pastor.
You think so?
He's getting a lot of Amish comments.
I'm getting a lot more Amish comments than I'm comfortable with. It may be fixing to go.
I think it's the fluff. Don't you think it's his fluffiness?
It's all in what you shampoo.
I shampoo it.
No, what kind of shampoo do you use?
Shea butter, this kind of shea butter. Look, do you want me to... It's
beard
not shea
wash.
butter.
It's just beard wash.
It's called beard wash.
Okay. Don't dry it out.
Here,
It's not about what you wash it with. That's not.
And
true.
I comb it too.
Conditioner. It's about conditioner.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't condition.
Condition's the biggest step.
How do I...
Cheap
You have
beard
to
wash.
condition.
Okay, so
He just made another racket or something.
yeah.
Every time.
So, anyways, we want to come to you and just yet again we recorded our lunch yesterday, and for those of y'all that were able to watch it live,
Get a hobby.
Yeah, that's not true. For those of y'all that were able to watch it yesterday, we did exit that out because we just like for you to experience what we do in the raw, and we don't want anything to.
Oh, it was raw today.
Yeah.
Man, was it raw today?
So I want to segue over to Andrew and just what was our topic? What was presented to you at lunch today that just totally threw you off?
Yeah. So thank you, John, for that nice intro.
Long one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so we Cody's in there doing his thing with his 15 items that he has in his lunchbox, which I'm always jealous of. And,
Me too.
Thanks, Meg.
And I had my ramen and a bag of chips.
Those look like a good bag of chips.
They were great.
I would say
great bag of chips.
3 out of 4 days a week, he has some kind of gourmet meal.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? He pulls out. He's got like fresh cut items. And,
So I'm sitting there, and Cody's eating. I'm eating.
Fried
We're just kind of
rice.
talking back and forth, and he says, "How willing are you to get sweaty at lunch?" And so I thought, well, that's a little forward, but I'm not real sure. I'm not sure what you're gonna have to give me a little more. Just we need to start working out. Yeah. So I don't disagree with that. I got some issues going on. Things are getting a little tighter than they used to be. So I don't disagree with that.
Skinny jeans are a little
bit
skinnier.
As we begin to talk about some potential, hey, if we just work out 30 minutes, just hardcore 30 minutes, whatever that looks like. And then he says, we do a triathlon. So I guess we're gonna do a triathlon.
Yeah. So
I thought that was a little much. I thought he should pump the brakes on the triathlon a little bit. Like for him, I thought maybe we should just start with running.
So here's the thing. I don't like the for him stuff. I don't like that.
Well, you
don't treat me like I'm made out of glass.
Well, if you weren't made out of glass, maybe we wouldn't treat you like that.
Oh, a lot of moving
I'm no
parts.
less of a man just because I have a few screws and some
A lot
metal.
of moving parts.
Yeah, man.
By the way, we've discovered that Cody is not human. He is a robot, and all these surgeries that he's going to is just battery replacements.
Absolutely. They're just not replacement.
It's battery
Yeah.
replacements.
So that was that's all that. So be looking for the 3 fit amigos in the next 3 months.
Yeah. So, and that was what was presented to me when I came in a
As soon as you
little
walked
later.
in, right?
Yeah. Hey John, how do you feel about getting sweaty during lunchtime? I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like every time I get sweaty, and y'all know who I am and what I do, I feel like I have to go take a shower in order to keep
We
the
could
rest
spray
of
you down with a hose.
So, I don't know.
I'm happy to do that.
I bet. So in my mind, I'm like, I don't know if I have enough clothes to pull this off. I mean, like, it's one of those things where, like, if I get sweaty, I'm done for the day. Like, I either continue to stay sweaty or I have to immediately.
You sweat
get clean.
easily?
I do sweat easily.
Yeah, see, I don't.
Like,
It takes a lot for me to sweat.
He glistens.
this is the
Oh,
thing.
I'm serious.
This is the thing. Like I look like I'm jump roping in an attic while peeling an orange. I mean, it's just I don't know why that is. I just sweat a lot.
Jump
Now, if you
rope.
get in an attic, you will sweat.
I know. I've been in many attics.
And something else that makes me sweat. This is kind of odd. Like, I don't care what temperature it is outside, but when I crank a chainsaw, it's like I immediately start sweating.
Is that kind of like when you go into a bookstore and you have to go to the bathroom?
That's personal. That should not be shared. But yes, I may.
Do we need to cut that out? Can we leave
No,
that
you're
in?
good.
Okay.
I think it's the smell of the paper product.
I don't just think the bookstore things that you think.
No, I think it's a real deal. Like if you
I think
have,
that's the thing.
if you experience, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. If you experience a
Compulsive colon.
a spastic colon when you enter bookstores, please let me know. I'd like to reach out to you. We can start a community group.
A lot of issues.
So yeah, that's
Look, okay.
It's a digestive
So
thing.
The reason that I brought up the triathlon, there's a couple different things. Okay, and the reason I led in with the sweating was.
By the way, I was good working out until you said triathlon. I was like, whoa.
he said, "Oh,
My buddy Philip Haynes, he used to talk about how there were really two staffs of the church. There's the sissy staff, and then there's the jock staff.
I thought we just had the rock staff and the other staff."
Well, you know, there was another division,
Oh.
and sometimes, John, maybe you're not real willing to get sweaty, and then and Andrew. He likes to look good. I mean, he got his hair so I just needed to cut through and see before I
Right
got
to the chase. I mean, straight.
I mean, I need to
Rip
know.
the
I mean,
Band-Aid off immediately.
it doesn't. No, it has nothing to do
So
with weight.
here's my
It has
thing.
nothing to do with weight.
I think I can skimp by enough during the workouts and not get sweaty.
Skip by.
I think I can do enough.
What about doing everything that you do for the glory of God?
Well,
What about doing it all when
except
you're full?
except for working out.
So the other part, okay. So over the last few years, I may have had a couple of physical setbacks, minor physical setbacks.
You realize every time you work out, something happens, right?
That's not true. That's been blown out of proportion.
Pretty accurate.
That's been blown out of proportion. So there's a mental block that I have now in my mind of I'm not who I used to be. I'm not, because I've always been a pretty active dude. I mean, that's pretty well established. And so I told Megan the other day, I feel like I need to accomplish a physical feat.
The triathlon is where you started.
So I went,
Perfect.
So
Not 5K,
So
not
I-
10K, but
look,
sure.
I'm telling you right now, I could run a 5K without any extra. I could run.
There's no doubt that you could run it.
Well,
Yeah.
then there's
I mean, I
no,
can
there's
run a
no
5K.
accomplishment
My
of that.
chest was hurting a
That's
little
what
bit,
I'm
but I
saying.
ran 5K.
It doesn't
That's
matter if
not
you can
a
run it
feat.
in 30 minutes.
That's a feat. I could run a 5K
50
right
by the
now
way.
without
Pretty proud
stopping.
of it.
I would not walk a single step. I could at least jog an entire 5K right.
But an hour 5K is not impressive.
I'm just saying
I'm just saying.
a
That was pretty-
5K.
I went under an hour. That's
A 5K.
And that's no offense to anybody. I'm just saying,
If you're watching, I am about 6 months removed from a spinal fusion surgery.
which means you need about 4 more months.
That's not what that means. He told me I could start returning to normal life.
I was there when they.
So I want to know that I can still do it. And
Another ER story, by the way.
running comes pretty simple. It's pretty easy.
straightforward.
Unless you're fat like me.
And
Hurts my knees.
I want something a little more challenging than a 5K. I just don't think a 5K is.
I'm saying, just up your time. Do like
I
I
want-
want to do a 20-minute
gosh.
5K. That
So,
would be a
I
heck of
mean,
it. I mean, that's
whatever.
So
I-
we did break it down though. We haven't found a triathlon yet that allows multiple people. Supposedly Andrew is going to ride bike in this triathlon, right? You're going to ride the bike.
I haven't ever done it. I've always been the
Or
runner.
you're gonna
So
ride
I'd like to.
He's going to ride the bike.
Yeah, I've always been the runner, so
Cody's
I'm going to ride bikes.
Cody's going to run, and I'm going to be the fat whale that
The
swims.
bearded barracuda.
That can be our names, the bearded barracudas.
We'll do.
I like it.
Strokes. There. Anyway, so
Strokes.
strokes. But anyway, so I don't know if y'all know of anything coming up in this crazy
Or
stuff.
if you have a good practical workout plan that we can do.
Yes.
Because look, this we believe in whole life discipleship here.
That's good.
You love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and strength, right? So we want to treat the temple well. We don't want a mega church, right? We want to have a lean, mean, fighting temple here. We want more of a tabernacle, and so if you have something that we could do on lunch break, these guys have already told me they don't mind getting a little sweaty. I asked them up front. I found out.
Do you mind if I wear a hat the rest of the day?
Huh?
Do you mind if I wear a hat the
As
rest
long
of
as
the
you
day?
don't have any meetings.
Can I wear shorts?
No, you can't wear shorts.
Can I wear shorts on a workout?
T-shirt?
Yeah, I'm wearing shorts on the workout.
I'm going to wear a suit when I work out.
And this is also a great
Can I wear
opportunity
a-
for us to appeal to our church family. And if you guys would put a shower in this place, that would be fantastic.
Can I wear a silver sweatsuit?
Hey, you think the CBA would let us borrow that disaster relief trailer?
Shower trailer, park it outside.
That's probably wrong. Just kidding if you're watching that CBA.
I didn't think that was a dig.
Okay.
Okay.
Good, because it wasn't.
Yeah, I didn't feel that way.
Didn't want to be
It's a nice facility.
It is really
Yeah,
nice.
it's fantastic.
They used to have
Anyways,
a really nice one at Noble Street Bike Festival. It was
So-
really nice.
You know
We-
you're a real man when you can wear horizontal stripes.
I knew it was coming. I was waiting. I wore nice clothes all week, and then
you challenged me to wear a long sleeve shirt today, so I decided to
At
go.
least
on
it's
my-
not
And
a
then
V-neck.
No.
At least we're not looking
I can
at
make it a
as
V-neck.
Yes, no, please don't. Please don't. All right,
I got
so
scissors in my pocket.
So we were talking about what we're doing in the now, but kind of our more serious topic. I mean, we just talked about we had a message on the providence of God, and
We're gonna have another this Sunday, so
yeah, it's a
Part two.
continuation, part two.
Go.
Excited about that, but we we were just thinking and talking about like things that God has brought us through in these like in our past that just where we are now, like we never would have thought this is where we would be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the experiences that we were a part of that at the time seemed so like, God, what are you doing in this moment? And then now on the other side of that is, I mean, just amazed at the providence of God and what He's done. And so, Cody, I kind of just want to start with you. I mean, 15, 20 years ago, like, what were you thinking of? What were you doing? And did you ever think that you were going to be a pastor?
I would say if you go back 20 years, I wanted to be a Sports Center anchor.
Okay.
Stuart Scott was kind of my hero. You know, cool as the other side of the pillow.
Yes,
You know what I'm talking about?
absolutely.
And so, like every Saturday morning, I'm an early bird, so I was always the first person up in my house. I would sit and watch. Remember, I used to have Sports Center on repeat.
Was
Right?
it Inside Out, Inside NBA? What was it? NBA Jam?
Inside NBA.
Inside NBA.
Yeah. So that was about Chris Berman.
That was a modern
NFL
shot.
primetime.
It was a Madra shot that I was thinking of.
Yeah. So
I have no idea.
You're out.
I'm out.
you weren't into sports.
Stuart Scott was a big
Now,
deal.
did they know that you played a little ball back in school?
Stop. Stop.
We played about the same
I would
amount.
like
I played a lot of sports.
everybody to know.
I'm so glad it's not me.
If you go back and you talk about the days back when you played football, do you include Little League?
It wasn't Little League. It
You
was,
don't. Little League doesn't
I do.
count. Little League doesn't count. You don't get to say back when I played football unless it was in varsity.
Hey,
Unless it was in
when you're a
varsity.
band nerd, Little League counts.
whatever.
Played 1 year, Hollis Eagles.
You also don't talk a lot about your football playing days.
Nah, I don't.
John references him a lot.
I mean,
He
junior high.
references his football days
I
a
got to
lot.
hang out at varsity, whatever.
But
I still got the shorts, dadgummit.
I got the shorts. I got the
55. Oh, 55.
I was 51.
I messed up my knee. Man, leave me alone. Back in the day when I was wrestling,
could've
messed up his knee in
in the
Little
shop.
League
Could have went state.
I could have went all the way.
back in
man.
'82.
Gosh.
So the pigskin
All
quarterback.
right, anyway, so
remember.
15, 20 years ago. There you go.
Yeah, so
Back to you.
But I look back and honestly, and I don't know that a whole lot's changed, but I was a punk, and I think I
A little bit of
was
a bully.
I was too small to be a bully.
You're a verbal bully.
That might be fair.
I know a lot of words that you don't.
That
I'm
might
a smart
be
man.
fair.
You don't.
I might have been verbally,
I'd read a lot.
not 20 years
That was
ago.
the beginning of the robot stages.
But I think a lot. I mean, I know a lot. If I say I think a lot, that's a lot. So, and honestly, I really didn't care very much about church and things. But what the Lord did in our lives and in my family is in '96 our house burned down, and I've talked with our church about this. But I look back on that, and in the moment, it seemed awful, and nothing about our lives made sense anymore. We had to relocate. All like everything that I owned from my whole childhood was gone. But the Lord used that to bring my family and I to this little growing church out on the outskirts of our community called Iron City Baptist Church. And the Lord used that to save me, to save my dad, to save my sisters, to reinvigorate the faith of my mom. The Lord used that to send a youth pastor into my life that was incredibly transformative. And being around him, I really never experienced any kind of like burning bush vision from God about being a youth pastor. What I had in my life was a youth pastor that changed my life, and I thought, I want to do that. Yeah. I want to help other people that way. And so I can look back and I can see God's providence in those really bad moments. And even fast forward, we talked a little bit about my health over the last few years. I was in really good shape when I was 30 years old and my intestines ruptured. Yeah. And then last July, I told Pat, I said, I think I'm finally getting my life back. I'm finally getting my health back. And that's when I found out the next week about my back. And so I can even see, though, how God has worked through those things to make me, both of you guys have known me for a long time. And mercy has not always been my strength. Is that fair?
That's absolutely fair.
And
Spiritual Gift Survey said 0.
0, quite a few years ago, but yes. And compassion, like that I've never been particularly compassionate toward other people. And the Lord has used those elements in my life as a transformative grace, so that now I can empathize with people. So that now, I think used to when there was an element that people said that they have, but that I couldn't see, I was skeptical of that and cynical toward that. And I think it made me really a poor pastor. But I think now, because most of if you look at me, I've been from the outside looking in, I'm the picture of health, right? And so I've seen what it's like for people to view what you have skeptically and cynically, and I think the Lord's used that to soften my heart a lot, and He's used that to bind my heart with the heart of our people. Yeah. So I feel like I'm able to pastor them better, and I think in a lot of ways I don't take things for granted the way that I used to. Yeah. So I think I'm a happier person than I was 20 years ago or even 5 years ago. I think generally speaking, I enjoy the good things, the good friends that I have, the good church that I have, the family that I have, a lot more than I used to.
That's awesome. Andrew, man, 15, 20 years ago, and we were talking about this earlier, 15, 20 years ago, that we were, all three of us, really, it was before, God saved us. And so, what does that look like for you, 15, 20 years ago?
Yeah, 20 years ago I was 15, so those were probably 13 to 17 were like.
He's obviously the old man.
He is the oldest.
We need to bring that up.
Yeah, he's the oldest on the staff.
A little bit of gray in that beard.
Like a year and a half or something.
He got more gray than him. I can't say anything.
But no, it was those were some rough years. Teenage years were not good for me and not good for my parents. And so, but no, it was I always wanted I didn't really know what I wanted to do, what kind of thankfully the Lord got my attention pretty quickly after my first freshman year of college. But it was you're going through that age, and it's kind of a funny story, but it kind of not, because it was kind of serious. So I always wanted to be an architect, and here's the.
This is why we're laughing.
I didn't even tell y'all this earlier.
That's not a shirt an architect can pull off.
Yeah. This is the funny part that I didn't tell y'all earlier. You want to know why I wanted to be an architect? Because I really enjoyed Lincoln Logs and Tinker Toys.
that was what you were placing.
Lincoln Logs.
I'm pretty good at this.
I was all about
Logs.
some Lincoln Logs.
Dude, I killed it, man. I can make all kind of stuff. And
I'm excited about having a little boy so I can buy Lincoln Logs.
So, funny story, you can even fast forward last week, and I was playing with some stuff with Micah.
You know what I want to do?
Art Vandelay.
And, but anyway, so I can remember in my 10th grade year specifically was pretty bad. Just
that was geometry year.
Stuff. So that was geometry year,
Yeah.
and I slept a lot. We talked about that last week, and I slept a lot in class.
We're still waiting on a call back from Dr. Patel's office.
Yeah, there was a week where I'd fall asleep, and I had this Alabama starter jacket. And it was sweet, man. A little pullover.
Had one of those?
And I had fallen asleep like this. And I woke up at the end of the class. Nobody's in the classroom. And I thought, well, crap, I missed everything. And so I get to walk out about the time the math teacher's coming back in, and she says, "Well, are you rested up?" And I was like, "Oh, no, I wouldn't sleep." And just lie straight up through my teeth. She's like, "Well, that star on your forehead from where your starter jacket, it had imprinted into my forehead, and it was a big red star on my forehead." And she said, "Well, let me ask you, Mr. Nunley, what do you want to do when you're?" I said, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" I said, "I want to be an architect." And she said, "You realize you have like a 62 in this class right now, right? You're barely passing." And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Yeah, I do." And she said, "Well, maybe you should reconsider something else in life." And right then and there,
more teachers, by the way.
Right then and there,
Yes.
man, my architect days died. So from 10th grade till I came to Christ, I had no idea. I was just kind of living life, and but no, I said those were some. I
didn't realize that. So you really had no real career path.
No, I had zero compared. I don't even want to tell this. So my first freshman year, I thought, I could go. We went and visit. I was taking some type of criminology class or something, and we took a visit to the FBI center in Atlanta. And I thought, this is it. I'm gonna work for the DEA.
He's gonna be an FBI agent.
I'm gonna be a DEA agent. And
there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it. But that was what I wanted to do.
Can you imagine him walking the DA with that shirt on?
Yeah, that wouldn't fit you at all.
But I can in his car.
But not long after that, I had an abrupt awakening from the Lord, and it was instant. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like I was like, all I want to do is serve the church and work in ministry somehow. And I dealt with that hard for several years. I felt like it was something that I wanted to do, and it wasn't really the calling on my life like other people maybe had talked about. And I remember I had a Dr. Cope from he was the head of the CBA or Cleveland Baptist Association. He said, "Let me ask you, Mr. Nunley, do you really think that's something that because I thought it was Satan like messing with my mind." And he was like, "Do you really think Satan wants you to go work in the church world and lead people to Jesus?" And I was like, and he said that it was so simple, but I was like, no, he doesn't. So he's like, okay, I think you got your answer. And from then on, we just kind of, whatever door opened, we just kind of stepped through. And fast forward up into before we came here, like I left a full-time ministry position, and really, when you're in the church world, you're staff, like you're expected to go from full-time position to full-time, but you don't get to go back to the secular world. That doesn't work that way in most cases. But for me, I was just at a point where I needed to step away for a while, and had no intentions really of coming on staff here, bivocationally or full time, and God just began to open doors, and through His providence, man, it's been an insane 3 years. So we came here literally, Tasha and I and Micah, as a young couple, just looking for a church, and like many of our people have. So
never thought. And yet again,
now fast forward, he's co-starring on a
podcast,
a widely viewed podcast,
ICBC Roundtable,
sponsored by Wildwood, unofficially.
But no, I mean, and yet again, there's a picture on your wall of all three of us, and I think it's circling around Facebook somewhere, but where we're, I think Cody and I were like hugging or something, and maybe Andrew's on the side.
I don't know what he was doing.
I don't know.
That's pretty awkward.
You were hugging me. I wasn't. I don't think.
I was talking about Andrew. I think Andrew's the awkward part of that picture.
But it was.
Well, there's nowhere for me to go. I was the third wheel.
But it was. It's
I had to jump over where I could.
How we've always talked about it when we were all in ministry together. Like this would never us three together would never happen. Like, there's in a million years, like...
Well, we've definitely stayed employed longer than I thought we would if we were all together.
Seriously, when Cody left Hillcrest, I thought, there's no way we'll ever serve together again. It's just not going to work out that way. There's no way. And just because of the paths and... Yeah.
Well, what's really amazing, and a lot of people I have found out haven't really made these connections because we have so many new people in our church, so John and I served together here.
Yeah.
What was that, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
I was the youth pastor here, and John was our youth worship leader. And man, the Lord just did a remarkable work, and we had a lot of fun, and that was kind of how I felt when we kind of party company. Is that's probably
Never gonna happen again.
and we would talk a lot.
Yeah.
And then Andrew and I served at the same church together for 5 years. I was there with him for 5 years at Hillcrest, and man, just really just struck up just a kindred spirit. And man, we saw the Lord do some just remarkable. And so the fact that the Lord brought all of those paths together at one time, after I think this all came about, I guess, like year 5 for me here. And just seeing how the Lord did that has been, I mean, the only word is providential.
Absolutely.
When you look back and think about it.
And it's rare to even have one friend on staff. I mean, to have your friends on staff that know your weaknesses, that know your strengths.
Know how to push your buttons.
Know how to push your buttons.
It's a blessing and a curse. It really is.
I mean, I'm not saying our every day is perfect and we all, are just gung-ho every time we step out the door.
We all get a bit temperamental.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where, like, I love the fact that I can go to you in confidence with what I'm struggling with, or, Andrew, either or, and, like, we all three talk about it as if, I mean, we're friends. Yet again, I know this dynamic is weird, but, yes, there's times where we're friends, and then there's times where you're my boss, or all this other stuff, in the sense of like, hey, you do that, but no, I mean, always
read your emails.
Yeah, read your emails.
That wouldn't be a bad move.
Yeah,
busted out on Facebook on that one too.
Yeah.
God, no, that's a low blow, man.
Yeah.
Well, I would say, like you guys, like maybe I'm your supervisor, but y'all pastor me. I mean, y'all pastor me well.
We do being elder led,
and that's elder led. I mean, like we all hold each other accountable, no matter what it is.
And what like from my perspective, and it's first of all, I felt like when the Lord called me to Iron City, He was calling me to be a generational pastor, to say we've never had that in the history of our church, and to be able to do that with people whose hearts I know entirely, and who I've seen you on your bad days. I've seen you, and you guys have seen me at some pretty low moments. And even prior to us serving on staff together, if something would have happened, and I knew something was happening to me, you guys would have been the ones that I would have called to take care of my family. Yeah. Because I have that kind of confidence in you and kind of trust in you. And so, again, the only word is providence. Just to see, it's a testimony really to just how good the Lord is, that He would bring it together that way.
And 15, 20 years ago for me, I mean, same boat as you, Andrew, same boat as you, Cody. Pre-saved. Yet again, growing up in this church. And I say pre-saved because I was not living as a Christian, was not living as somebody that knew the Lord. I was living as somebody that wanted to do their own thing. And Cody, you grew up with me, and a lot of the people...
I remember back when you played little ball.
A lot of people from our church knew me and grew up with me. And yet again, you can go to them and say, like, did you ever think that John Blanton would be on staff at Iron City Baptist Church, or staff at anywhere? Like, they would say, no, he's going to end up in jail somewhere, or like dead on the side of the road. It was somewhere.
I was
where they over switchblades.
I was definitely going to the detention center. You know what I'm saying? I was getting called, busted, or something because I was stupid. I did a lot of dumb things. I mean, I'm the kid that Phil Busty will tell you I was shooting fireworks off in the church parking lot, or shooting fireworks at the church van. That is neither confirmed nor denied. I will not say that I did that, but people claim that I did. Anyway, so it's just, I mean, like, to say that I am a student pastor, an outreach pastor, or a pastor of any kind at any church, that was not my goal, right? I mean, 15, 16, 17, I was with my friends. I was partying, sneaking in, sneaking out. I mean, like, just, I think my parents know that, by the way. I have no idea. Maybe my dad It was the garage window, by the way.
You're gonna be grounded.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I had a Toyota. I could push.
You go sit in the corner.
I could push. It was a.
That's the one you flipped it along your straightaway.
Yeah.
Right?
I could push it because it was a.
He flipped.
That's another story.
It's the longest straightaway, and all I kind of get right in the middle of it. There's John Blanton up on his lid.
By the way, Cody Hill just drove on by. Drove on by. I think he gave a little honk.
Yes, I did. Matter of fact, I went back to donuts.
Anyway, so yet again, I got caught. That was I lied to my parents on that day, and I'm not saying that I wrecked my truck because of it, but I deserved every bit of it. So, anyways,
Providence.
Yeah, Providence. So
secret sins will find you out.
Yes, seriously. And so, truly giving my life to Christ before that. I was going. I was going to go Air Force. I was going to go, be a pilot, all this other stuff. And I realized that the test that I took to get in, I scored a low because me and my buddies said, hey, let's get out of class all day and just sit here and do nothing when we took that test. And so...
Great idea.
Yeah. Anyways.
We should, if we'd have went to high school together, we'd have probably been friends.
Oh, yeah. And so, yeah,
in a bad way.
Everything leading up to it,
So they said, maybe not pilot, let's put you in the mess hall.
You know what? It was not pilot. It was I was going to service the generators that ran the planes.
We'll let you fuel them up.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Is that mop fit your hand okay, boy?
Yeah. So I was like, I'm not going to take the test again. I think I'll just pass. So no, I was going to be a paramedic. So I went to EMT school, was an EMT, realized quick that for some reason until I wasn't a germaphobe until I became an EMT, and then in the back of an ambulance I realized that thing got really small really quick. And so
claustrophobic or just germaphobic?
No, germaphobic. This lady started listing off all the things that she had, and the ambulance just started getting smaller, and I couldn't get far enough away from her. And I was like, I'm out. I can't do it anymore. I worked the rest of the shift and then went home and realized that was not for me. So, yeah.
John, think about this. All right. If you were a member of Iron City Baptist Church 20 years ago today, do you know what you'd be doing? You would be gearing up to deal with us at youth camp.
Yes.
And nobody, Patrick Stone aside,
yeah.
There's nobody that terrorized youth camp like Cody Hill and John Blanton.
Oh, yeah.
And we were sworn enemies.
Yes.
We were...
yes. You stole my stuff and used it against me.
Well, that's because you weren't as good at it as I was.
Well,
but
I got so mad, and I would get so emotional. And I know where Mason gets it from. He gets it from me. I get that. I just don't want to admit that. I was emotional whenever Cody would steal my stuff and used the
petroleum. You talk so much stuff.
Used the petroleum jelly that I brought to camp to put around the toilet to where
you were a bit younger than I was.
When you sat on it, you slid off. Now, granted, he didn't catch us. He actually caught Eldo. For those of y'all that know Eldo, ask him about the time he went to camp and had to stay in the room with John and slipped off the toilet.
Sorry, Eldo.
That's the way it works, though.
Sorry, Eldo.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
So, Eldo, if you're watching this.
And if you would have went back 20 years ago and you would have asked Iron City, out of all the kids in the youth group, which two do you think will be your pastor and youth pastor in the year 2020? Guess who would have been at the bottom of that list? It would have been these two guys
John
right
and
here.
Cody. But no, yet again, I think, Protestant God, going back to what you said about the youth pastor, Todd was a guy that invested in me, even though I was a pain in the rear end. You too. You know, and then
I don't count though, apparently.
Oh yeah. And then you became my youth pastor and invested in me and poured into me and on my bad days to where I came to you and say, maybe God has made a mistake. This is not, maybe this God wants me in ministry, all this other stuff. There's no way. God can't use somebody like me. And continuously, and you just encouraging me, had a huge impact on my life. And so, I don't even know if you know that or if I even said that to you. You being my youth pastor, I don't know. It was just, it's, I don't mean to give you a big head, but it was really cool. You encouraged me and you helped me to be where I'm at right now. and you continue to do that as my lead pastor.
Well, I still remember the first time that John led us in worship, and I remember. So you were a senior, and I was I was like the de facto youth guy at the time. Like we ran out of options, And
we'll get this guy.
Bring in the junior high.
And so we basically forgot about the youth for a little while, and there was Cody. And I remember going to John. We were doing the I Worship DVDs. You remember that, the Integrity Worship or whatever. And I said, man, I really think it would help all the kids if there was somebody up there. And I said, you don't even have to sing out loud; just mouth the words. And he was like, I can do that.
Yeah.
And he went up there and he sang. He was singing, and he did well, and it was going well. And then I remember about 2 weeks after that, he shows up and the guy's got a guitar. I said, you play the guitar? And he said, I'm going to try to play one. I'm going to try to lead a song with a guitar. I said, I didn't even know you could actually sing. And he goes up there and he sang Open the Eyes of My Heart.
Yeah.
And it transformed our youth ministry. And that's not an overstatement.
That's
that
awesome.
the Lord started on that night, that specific night, something that we kind of just held on for dear life and just saw. But God. That's the only explanation, right? But God.
Speaking of Providence, my wife, one of the fifth quarters that we did, she I invited her to come to the fifth quarter after the game, and she came.
She wasn't your wife at the time.
She wasn't
my wife
at the time. She was about a ninth grader.
Yeah, whatever.
And you.
Good night. All right, was she ninth grader?
Yeah, I think she was, wasn't she?
No, this was after high school.
No, this. Oh, okay, I got you.
Well, it was she was still in high school, of course, but anyway. So, but I invited her to the fifth quarter, and something. It was just crazy how all that worked out. She saw me on the stage and saw me singing.
That's what did it.
And that's what did it.
That's what did it.
That's the man.
Tasha shared that story last night.
Hey, you know we put the rope lights?
Yeah.
And we had all the stuff from Gadzooks from the mall when it closed
Yes.
down. We had all that. We had all that. We did.
We had the buggy too, the punch buggy.
We did. We had the buggy. We sure
Oh
did.
my goodness, that was fantastic. Anyway, so I don't know.
We ran through we did the big series when we were first getting we were kind of starting to figure stuff out. We did this series called What's Your Game Plan?
Yeah.
During the fall, and we had a victory paper. Everybody ran into the sanctuary.
Yeah.
That's
Every
good.
week that we would start the service and they would run through it.
Yeah.
Torn paper. It was
Boy,
the
we
coolest
did
thing
some
ever.
corny stuff in youth ministry.
Yes.
It was, but the kids loved it. I mean, we thought this is the coolest thing ever every time we did it.
That's right. And we got and there are a number of the folks that were in that youth ministry in our church, right?
Yes.
Some of whom are deacons.
Yeah,
And
that's awesome.
that's
How
good.
awesome is that?
Oh my goodness! You look back at Providence, right?
Yeah.
You look back and you think about how the Lord allowed your lives to intersect at different times, and how He brings those things together, and it just makes everything that much sweeter, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It makes everything that much sweeter.
And I mean, and yet again, times that you went through in your life where you hadn't God, what? Yet again, going back to what I said, God, what are you doing? What's going on in my life? What are you trying to teach me in this? And then on the other side of it, just amazed at what God is doing. And I think I said this a while back, but there's a quote, maybe David Platt said it, but God is doing 10,000 things in your life, and John Piper. You're only aware of 3 of them, and that's really providence. I mean, so. But yeah, I mean, awesome. That's all I can say.
Yeah, praise the Lord.
God's providence is awesome, and so we just invite you. Thank you so much yet again for joining us.
How about this? What if you have a story of God's providence in your life? I tell you, it would really encourage your pastors just to hear of it, hear about it. And I speak for all of us. We would love to hear just how God's providence has worked in your life over the years.
You can actually, something easy to do, either email us, just our first names, and then at ironcity.org, or you can go to our website at ironcity.org and fill out a connect card or a prayer request, and just in there in the comments, just let us know, and we get all that. So that'll be an easy way for you to connect with us. And of course, until next time, we love you. We love our church. We love our church family. And maybe you don't have a church home and you're listening to this. We invite you to come check us out. Yet again, all our information is on ironcity.org. We would love to connect with you there. But until next time, live sent.